Yeah, so let's get into next. I wanted to basically just give a quick explanation on what faithfulness is. So faithfulness is the concept of unfailing, remaining loyal to someone or something and putting that loyalty into consistent practice, regardless of any other circumstances. So the difference between faith and faithfulness, faith is just believing in something, it's just having the belief that something exists. But faithfulness, which is why I highlighted it, is consistent practice, is consistently being loyal, being faithful to that particular thing. Right. So the subject that we're going to focus, or the story that we're going to focus on today, is Samaria. Jesus meets the Samaritan woman. So it's kind of a long chapter. It's from verse 1 to verse 26. So I thought not to read it. We're going to give it to you in Ophelia translation. So here's what happens. Long story short, Jesus is with his boys, he's with his disciples. Obviously, he's rolling true. Obviously, he's just got done doing all miracles and wonders. Man's with his man then. And then he's like, I don't want the fuss by going through the market, because the disciples wanted to get some food. And Jesus is like, I just don't want the fame today. I just want to take a break. So he goes back and he wants to go back to yard. So basically, there's two different routes you can go. You can go the long route, and that misses out Samaria. I think I'm saying it right, Samaria. Or you can go the short route and you have to go through Samaria. Now, back in those days, there was a bit of beef war with Jewish people and Samaritan people. So the wars lasted for like 700 years. It's also to do with like racial prejudice and stuff like that. So they didn't really used to mingle. So you would have to take the long route to avoid that kind of land, and the same with Samaritans. So Jesus went through Samaria, was like, I've got an appointment, I've got to see someone. He went to Samaria, he's at the well, and it's at the 6th hour, he's waiting at the well, and he's there. A woman comes along, this woman right here, and she's basically like, yeah, so, no, she didn't say anything, sorry. She's getting her water and she's filling up the well. And Jesus asks her for a drink. And then she's like, why are you talking to me? Like, you're a Jew, I'm a Samaritan woman, like, we don't mingle, our lands don't, like, this is not meant to happen. He's like, yo, if you knew who I was, you would be asking me for a drink. Like, do you understand? Like, that's what Jesus replies back. And she's like, what are you on about? And then he's like, yo, I can give you water that is everlasting, that you will never have to, beg for water again. It's living water, it's everlasting water. You won't have to come to this well again. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I want this water. And then he's like, all right, go call your husband, come back, and we can sort something out. She's like, oh, I don't really have a husband. And he's like, yeah, you're right, you don't. You've had 5 men, and the man that you're with now is not even your husband. So she's like, yeah, what? Like, how do you know all this about me? Like, this is a bit mad still. Like, how do you know my whole life? Like, are you a prophet? Like, are you greater than Jacob's father? Like, who are you? And then he's like, so basically, long story short, he gives her the living water, and she's basically like, oh, but I've been worshipping on mountains. Like, are you gonna set us free? Like, is that where we're meant to worship? Are you a prophet that we're meant to worship on? And he's like, forget worshipping on the mountains, forget worshipping the hills, forget all of that wherever you're worshipping. Worship in spirit and in truth. She gets all gassed, and she's like, oh my gosh, what isn't the Messiah gonna come? And Jesus is like, big man, I am the Messiah. Do you know who you're talking to? Man is the Messiah. She's gassed. She's like, ah! So she then goes into the city, tells everyone, oh my gosh, I just met the Messiah, and he's just given me living water that I never had to go to the well again. And that is the story in Ophelia translation. So, moving on, what does this, hold on. So, brings me to my session, which is called Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, Who's the Fairest of Them All? And I know you're thinking, how does that story relate to a fairy tale program that we used to watch? But it's all going to make sense. Just follow me. Okay, cool. So if we go to verse 7, soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, please give me a drink. And I found this very interesting, because I'm like, why would Jesus ask for a drink. Like, Jesus isn't thirsty. If Jesus wanted a drink, Mama could just probably put out his hand and poof, drink could come. He could have blackberry juice, grapefruit juice, orange juice, any kind of juice, tropical juice. Like, he's not thirsty. Why is he asking the woman for a drink? And what I want to say is, if this cooperates, our faithfulness to him begins with invitation. So with him asking for a drink, it was an invitation to conversate with her. It was an invitation for that conversation to lead where it went, and for that invitation happens. And it's not only invitation from God, it's invitation from us. So God's invitation, his initial invitation to us was when he died on the cross. That was his invitation to say, God, like, you can, like, I'll die on the cross for you. I'll die for all your sins. Just follow me, the true Father, and everything will be sorted. Our invitation then is then letting God in and saying, God, I want to serve you. Have your way. I invite you into my heart. I invite you into my life. I invite you into my spirit. So it's an invitation from both parts. See how it's reflected. It's him and God saying an invitation to us, and then us reflecting it and saying, you know what, you can have your way. You can have reign in my life. Right. So then, later on in the story, verse 16 to 18, he says, go and get your husband. And then she's like, I don't have a husband. Jesus says, you're quite right. You don't actually have a husband. Verse 18, for you have had 5 husbands and you aren't even married to the one you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth. Now, she could have lied. She doesn't know Jesus she doesn't even know. First, she doesn't know that he's the Messiah. Second of all, he's a Jew. Like, why am I speaking to you? Why do I need to tell you about my life? Like, I don't need to really talk to you. But what's profound is that she spoke the truth, because it was like a spirit of discernment, that she knew that this man was different. And that leads to the next point, that we have to initiate our faithfulness to him. We have to be the ones. He put the invitation out there, then she was like, okay, I'm going to initiate by saying the truth, by telling the truth. And we have to make the first gesture, because her gesture was her being truthful and being obedient. We have to be obedient. We have to be truthful first. We have to initiate the faithfulness of being in a relationship, and then he will reciprocate that to us as well. So later on, it says, but the time is coming, indeed, it's here now, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshippers the Father seeks. For God is spirit, so those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And I've highlighted spirit and in truth and seeks, is because that's what she was doing. She was speaking in truth. It was in spirit and in truth. She could have lied. She could have been disobedient. She could have said a whole load of things. But the fact is that she was speaking in truth, and the Father seeked her out. He knew where he was going. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to stumble across this well and I'm just going to chill here because I'm tired. No, it was an appointment. Jesus had an appointment that the woman didn't even know. A lot of the times, God's waiting for us and has an appointment. And sometimes we just might knock on the wrong door and actually open the door of God, and it's like, oh, I didn't know I was meeting you today. And God's like, yeah, I've been waiting. We have an appointment scheduled at 3 o'clock today. These times, you wasn't even ready. And God seeks the woman out. So, goes on to my next point. Hold on. Faithfulness is an act of worship. How is it an act of worship? With this now, when she was speaking in spirit and in truth, she didn't have to, when she was speaking in spirit and in truth, the truthfulness and her being honest is an act of worship. The same with obedience, it's an act of worship. And people, a lot of the time, assume that worship is just singing song and dance and just, the more creative, musical kind of side. But worship is just how we live, how we act, how we go throughout our day-to-day lives. It's an act of worship. It's giving a part of ourselves to God. So what was the worship in hers? It's the truth. It was her being truthful. She didn't have to be, but it was an act. It doesn't say that she was worshipping her whole life, no, because she had 5 manners, we discovered. But that little act of her being truthful was an act of worship. And our faithfulness to him, us being loyal to him, us standing by his word, is an act to say that, you know what, I believe this word and I believe that it's true, so I'm going to live out this word, and that will be an act of worship next to him. The one thing that you can give him is our worship, our time, our obedience. So that's what was interesting for me. We go on to the next slide. Yeah, cool. So just a second. So yeah, how it went and how I see it is that the woman first was tested. How was she tested? First of all, she was tested when God tested whether she would be honest or not, whether she'll be truthful or not. Go and get your husband. God technically put her in a trap. Go and get your husband. I know you don't have one, but I'm going to see what you say. Go and get your husband. It was her truthfulness when she was like, I actually don't have a husband. Then God tested her faith for her truth. I'm going to say that again. God tested her faith for her truth. After being tested, then it gets reflected. How does it get reflected? God saw that she was truthful and then was like, you know what, because you didn't lie, because you didn't bat around corners and you don't even know who I am yet and you still haven't lied, I'm going to reflect that faithfulness and I'm going to give you the everlasting water and the water that will never let you go thirsty again. I'm going to give you the living word. I'm going to give you everything that you deserve because you have been faithful. You have been truthful in what you've said. And then she projected. She took what she had and then she told the whole world about it. Yo, I just met the Messiah. Yo, he's just given me water that I'll never have to be thirsty again. Do you understand what's just happened? Like, I don't understand. Tested, reflected, and then projected. So this is my little testimony. What happened? So yeah, so I went to, it was like a healing miracles and wonders, yeah, something like that, conference. And my mum was going on about it and she was just bugging me. She's like, Fee, oh my gosh, there's a conference where Todd White's coming down, you need to go. Like, I've already got the tickets. This was my reaction. I didn't want to go. I was not on it to go. I was like, Mum, it's in London, it's a bit long, I don't want to go. I just don't. And she's like, I've already got the tickets, who's going to go? What do you mean? She was going on and I was like, fine. She bought the tickets and then about 2 days before, I got some like severe pain in the lower bottom of my body, like the whole, from here downwards, I just had pain. A severe pain. I've never, like shooting pains, never experienced it in my life. So I couldn't sit, I couldn't walk, I couldn't run. I was sleeping on my side. I just couldn't do anything. I was like, oh, Mum, you know what? I don't think I can actually go. She's like, no, you've got to, man. Maybe you can get healed here and you can get healed. I said, Mum, it's in London. How am I sitting in a car? If I can't sit down, what am I doing? Like, I can't stand on the train for 2 hours. I can't go. She's buggering me. I went to the doctors and he basically said it's a condition that you're actually going to live with. Like, it's not cured. Like, you have to keep taking tablets and for your whole life, basically. It's not curable. Take these and you'll relieve it. So I took the tablet. It relieved a bit of pain, but it was definitely still there. I still couldn't sit down properly. Anyway, I was like, you know what? Maybe I do get healed. You know what? Let me rock up and go. So went to the conference, and then basically how the conference was set was you would go to the conference in the morning, and it would be like the word, like a little day-to-day session, and then straight in action, like whatever you've learned from that section, you go straight in practically. So I think the session was, I think you had a word the night before, then the next day you'd have a session, and then you'd go into practically. So practical wise, you'd have to go out and be like an evangelist and actually spread the word of God. I was like, Mum, like I don't even do this on a day. Like, how are you expecting me just with random people? You get put in groups and you go out into, I think we were in South London, somewhere like near Peckham, go out into the streets and press the word of God. I'm like, okay then, all right. So I was there limping my way through. I was at the back of the group. There was like a group of 7 of us. They would speak, I wouldn't say anything. I would just be at the back. Still in healing. I'll still be worshiping and going through the conference and everything, but I'll be still in pain. The next day now, I think we got divided into smaller groups. So it was like now pairs of 2. So I was like, oh, now I have to speak. Like, I can't hide in a group of two. Like, it's me and her. Like, I'm going to have to say something now. So no, I went out in the streets now. And I was like, you know what? Why not profess the good news of Christ? Like, I've been living for my G for my whole life. Like, can't just say, like, yo, love God, love Jesus. Can't just sprinkle a little goodness into the world. So I was like, cool. So she went off and spoke to one guy. I went off and spoke to another guy. I was playing basketball with him, you know, trying to just chill, not do the whole Jesus, Jesus, you will go to hell thing. I was just trying to like ease it in, right? So I was playing with him and I was like, oh, this is not too bad, you know, like just start. I think he had like a cross on his neck, and then I started with like talking about that, and like I got into conversation. Then I spoke to like 3 people. At the end of me speaking to those 3 people about God, the pain went. I said, yo, my man, no one laid hands on man. No one laid hands on man. There wasn't no hashabakododot. There wasn't no tongues laying, lashing. There wasn't nothing of that. Literally, I spoke the word of God. I spoke about Jesus from the and I didn't do it out of like, I'm seeking healing, or I know God will bless me if this happens. I just was like, you know what? My mom paid for the ticket and you're telling me that I'm going around Peckham not saying nothing. Let me do what I came here to do. So I was like, yeah, cool. So I did that, and the pain went. I said, yo. And what I realized is because I was, and this is my reaction basically after all of that, I was like, Jesus. So basically, what happened was it actually started with me projecting it. Flip the script. It actually started with me projecting it. Then God reflected it, and the test comes in when it's testing your faith throughout it. So I projected the word of God. God was like, you know what, you're being faithful to, you actually believe in what the word of God says, that you're already healed, that you're already blessed, that you've already got abundant life. Then he reflected it and was like, because of that, I'm going to bless you. Then, but in the middle of that, if you put tested in between reflected and projected, in the middle of that, God was testing my faith the whole way through, and testing if what I actually say and believe is stand true, then I can say this to anyone and I should believe it. So that was basically what I'm going the wrong way. That was basically how God showed his faithfulness, and how I realized it's reflected. Like, it doesn't, and we say a lot of the times, like, God's great is thy faithfulness, but it starts with us. It starts with us being the initiate person to actually initiate that faith, and then God will reward us. So, moving on. Which brings me to my next point. Faithfulness is conditional. Now, when I was like, yo, what do you mean conditional? Like, God is this all-loving, unconditional Father. Grace is there. Grace is sufficient. God's grace, we have it. Da, 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 da. I was like, how is it conditional? I don't actually understand. And it's conditional in this way. His love is unconditional, but his faithfulness is conditional. Now, how I explain this was basically like this. When it was in the beginning, Adam and Eve, Adam was with God, and in the scripture, it says that the church was the bride, and then God, Jesus, is the groom, right? Follow me. If you don't follow me, you can ask questions at the end. But yeah, so Jesus is the groom, the church is the bride. Technically, and this is what happened, basically, I asked my mom and dad, I was like, yo, was Jesus ever had a girl? Like, my man's 33 and no one found him peg or attractive. Like, you're telling me women were just on his side, left, right, and center. Like, my man's doing poof, poof, miracle, and you're not telling me he has a girl. Like, what? Like, come on. And my mom and dad was like, nah, never been married, never. He was just doing the work of the Lord. Like, nah. I said, are you sure, Mom? Are you sure, Dad? They were like, 1,000%, 1,000%. I said, he wasn't engaged or nothing. He was like, nah. I said, okay, check this. Jesus was engaged. And then Mom and Dad was like, huh? And I was like, Adam and Eve, Adam was the groom, the church was the bride, right? There was well with God. Adam was spending loads of time with God. Technically, at this point, the church is the girlfriend. Just hear me out. Church is the girlfriend, and the groom, being God, Jesus, is just, yeah, the girlfriend and boyfriend. Then Satan comes in with a slithery snake and stole his girlfriend by sin. So stole Jesus' girlfriend, just like, yo, can't take my church, can't take my girlfriend. What the heck? Like, I had plans to reproduce, multiply in my image. I had plans to produce more of me, to produce more my children. I had plans, like, what is going on? Then Jesus died on the cross, right? Jesus died on the cross. Follow me, guys. It sounds mad, but it's logic. Jesus died on the cross and yeah, died for our sins. He took the key back, went to the gates of hell, took the key back, took his girl back, took the church back, took his girlfriend back. You can't stop me from here. Took his girl back, took the girlfriend back, and then was like, you know what? I want to be married to you. So then proposed. He proposed when he says, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I'm on the cross and I want to give everything to you. Everything I have, I give to you. I'm proposing to you. I'm engaging to you. And then it's up to us to take the ring that Jesus has given us, take the ring that God has given us, put it on our finger and be like, you know what? I'm engaged to God. I want to spend the rest of my life with God too. He took the ring and took back his girlfriend and engaged her. Now, when you're thinking like, so then why is it bride? That's why it says in the Bible, bride, because bride to be, he hasn't married yet. We haven't had that yet. The rapture is the marriage. That's when it's final. That's when it's finished. That's when it's all done. We're with God. That's it. That's the marriage done. Badam. Right? The rapture is God. But Jesus died on the cross until now, we've been engaged. And the thing about it being engaged is engagement is conditional. You cheat on me. You lie on me. You do anything on me. Ring off. I'm a single lady. I'm a single. All of that done is conditional, because the thing is, you can take off your ring, put it on the counter and leave, and God will still be there when you come back, because his love is unconditional, but his faithfulness isn't. So that's where I hope you guys are following me. If you do, put a thumbs up. If you don't, I need to work on my explanations a bit more. Okay, thumbs up. That's great, guys. That's great. So we're in an engagement stage, which is why it's so conditional, which is why it's important that we remain with God and we stay with God, because it's easy. God will never take off the ring. God, there's only one sin. And everyone knows that sin where we, help me out with the Holy Spirit one, that one. There's only one sin where God will take off the ring and be like, now we can't really vibe like that. But God will never take off his engagement ring. It's us guys, and it's down to us to initiate, to first take the ring when he died on the cross and say, you know what, I want to be engaged to you too. I want to love you too. I want to really live for you too. And then after that, it's then the marriage, which is the rapture, which we're all waiting for. Scriptures to back this up is Revelation. So it says, let us, I don't know, Revelation's a shaky one, but it says, let us rejoice and be glad in your glory, for the wedding of the Lamb has come. This is talking about after the rapture, by the way, guys. The wedding of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. Fine linen, bright and clean, was given her to wear. Right, that's basically talking about the rapture. So the wedding of the Lamb has come, ready to be married to God, and his bride has made us out. We've made ourselves ready to be reunited, to be connected with God. For fine linen, bright and clean. I'm guessing when the rapture comes, we're all going to be quarantine clean. We're going to be nice, bright and clean, and white and fresh. And then Revelation 21:9 also said, and there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of seven last plagues, and talked to me, I will shew the bride, the Lamb's wife. That's also talking about the bride now comes to be the Lamb's wife, which is where I'm sure we all want to be. So also to say that faithfulness is conditional are these scriptures. So Deuteronomy 7:9. Understand therefore that the Lord your God is indeed God. He is the faithful God who keeps his covenant for 1,000 generations and lavishes his unfailing love on those who love him and obey his commands. James 4:8, come close to God and God will come close to you. It's all conditional. Come close to God and God will come closer to you. He will, this unfaithful God, and keeps his covenant for 1,000 generations and lavishes unfailing love on those who love him. And the same with Luke 6:38 and 2 Corinthians 9:6. Give and it will be given back to you. Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. It's all conditional. You have to give it first. It all starts with you. You give your faithfulness and he will return that reward back to you. So I don't know what slide's next, guys. Oh yeah, so this is what happens in all of these different examples with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Abraham, he sacrificed his son, then he showed his faithfulness first, then God rewarded him. Esther, she fasted for 3 days and 3 nights, and then the Jews wasn't going to get killed. That's another thing. Ruth, following what Shania spoke about last week, following with Naomi, she showed her loyalty. She didn't have a husband. She came out with a paying husband who was rich, who had their land. She had better what she had before. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were like, I'm not going to bow down to this gold statue. Do you know the God that I serve? They were scared. They had fear. They went into the burning furnace, shook, I'm sure, but their faith was still in God, and God still showed up in the furnace. They showed faithfulness to God and was faithful to God, and God was faithful to them. Noah, David, and Jesus. Jesus was faithful when he died on the cross. And God was like, you know what? I respect that. Everyone now the price has been paid because of what you did. But it started with Jesus. It started with him, and then God then rewarded him. So, well, rewarded us as well. So, guys, I'll enjoy it. Where do we place our faithfulness? This is the second part of the session, and I wanted to give an analogy. You know what I mean, analogies. I wanted to give an analogy of where we place our faithfulness. So, I'm actually going to just stop sharing this for a second. How do I stop sharing? Oh, right. Cool. So, there's 3 ways that we can reflect our faithfulness. Oh, tell me if this is back to front, by the way, because I don't know if you can see it like. Okay, cool. So, so hope you guys can see it. So this one says God, this one says world, and this one says self. So there's 3 ways that we can put our faithfulness, and it shows what I reflect. So for example, self, we can be faithful to ourselves. We can say we'll wake up at 7 a.m. and we'll work out and we'll get everything done. We can say that we'll get assignments done by Friday and it will be in by 9 a.m. I'm going to be faithful to me. I've got goals to hit. I'm gonna trust myself that I can do this and I can do that. For example, the biggest thing that we do as humans is New Year's resolution. I'm going to do this for this New Year's 2020. I'm going to be faithful to ourselves, and I'm going to trust myself that I can get through this battle and get through that and get through that. So, and another one as well is managing emotions. If you don't want to do practically, I'm going to not get angry at this. This is not even going to trigger me. I'm going to look at this tweet or this picture, and this is not even going to affect me. Then tomorrow you're crying. How are you? Like, you can't manage anything. You can't be faithful to yourself. It's not possible. Unfortunately, we are flawed as humans, and that's just us. So, the world. The world's faith. You can be faithful to the world. You can give the world your all. You can give the world your heart. You can donate to charities and everything, which is all good and well. But don't expect that same return back. For example, you can give a homeless man £5. These times, the homeless man isn't even homeless. My man's got a crib down the yard. And you're thinking, oh, I'm doing something, I'm giving back to the world, I'm trusting the world, I'm doing what I'm doing. And the world's not giving you anything back. Another example, job rejections. You could spend a week trying to prepare for an interview and get rejected. The world doesn't owe you nothing. The world doesn't owe you a dang thing. So it doesn't matter what you give to it. It doesn't give you anything. So how are we faithful to something that doesn't give us anything back? It doesn't make any kind of sense. And then we've got God. Reflects what we reflect. What we reflect, he reflects what we give to him. So for self, if we're doing self too much and we're focusing on ourselves and making sure that we get all our goals and everything, it's great. Be accountable to yourself if you want to. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But over-accessing into that makes sanity turn into vanity. And we're trying to keep ourselves sane, but it turns into being vain and turning into making sure who our biggest enemy sometimes is ourselves. It's ourselves, because we're trying to keep up with the image that we have in our heads of trying to be faithful and trying to trust in whatever that is. The world reflection turned into deflection. Cracked mirror, has no sturdy base. Mine was rocking everywhere, doesn't even know where it's going. Reflection turns into deflection because you're looking into the world thinking the world's going to give me the answers. Like the world knows that beauty is white, skinny, tall, and then the world knows that this and etc. But it's deflecting you from your true identity. It's deflecting you from the identity that God's giving you. And so you're looking into a mirror that's cracked. These times, that's all you're used to. That's all that you're used to, a cracked mirror, a cracked screen, because that then apparently determines your identity. Then you got God. Faithful to faithful. We be faithful to him, he's faithful to us. Clean, quarantine, clean mirror. He's faithful to us and we're faithful to him. And that's exactly what he wants from us. That's it. Not the self, not the world, not us looking into other mirrors, trying to see what our reflection is. And a lot of the time, we look into, a lot of the time, it may not even look as though we're looking into one mirror. Sometimes we're looking into all three mirrors here, but check this. You see these mirrors here? One side only shows one reflection. You can only see this side of me. You can never see the full identity of me. The same with this side of that mirror. You will never actually see the full identity. You'll never see the full image of me. Only God sees the full image of you. And so you're looking into one side of the mirror, trying to figure out who your identity is, but the only identity that you see in yourself is in Christ. Christ in you and you in Christ. There's only one mirror to look into. And the thing is, some of us, including sometimes myself, are looking to self mirror on Monday and world mirror on Wednesday. And then Sunday, now everybody knows what Sunday is. Sunday is God's mirror. You get me? These are all rocking mirror. Well, Sunday is God's mirror. You know what I'm saying? So, and then God's mirror will maybe overflow to Monday because the healing or transformation worship was too lit. And then it goes back to self mirror. And you can't keep bouncing between each mirrors because I'm telling you, the mirror never lies. It's a law. It will always show you what you show it. So, yeah. Let me carry on. Let me get back to my PowerPoint presentation. So, that was the question. Where do we place our faithfulness? Where do you place it? Do you place it in self, the world, all three? And if so, what will make you stay in God? Or what actually, what makes you bounce between all three? And I'm not saying that self is a bad thing. Of course, keep on top of your goals, be accountable to yourself, but just remember that sometimes too much sanity can turn into vanity. Just remember that. So, let's go on to. So, yeah, we're coming to the end. I don't know if we've gone over. But yeah, so I'm coming to the end. And, yeah, cool. I'm coming to the end. I want you to do 3 things. I'm not going to ask you to, do a post or Instagram or hashtag. I understand that not everyone's on socials, and yeah, I just didn't decide to do it. But yeah, there's 3 things that I want you to do. I want you to do a flaw check. So what are your flaws, or what do you perceive as your flaws, or what do people tell you are your flaws? Whether you smoke, whether you're anxious, whether you're not worthy, whether you're too, whatever the flaw is that you tell yourself or people tell you, what are your flaws? So do a flaw check. Then I want you to do a faith check. What do you believe in? That I'm too anxious, that I believe in the word. I believe in what the world tells me. I believe in what myself tells me. I tell myself that I'm this, that I am this. I believe in what the world tells me. Or do you believe in the word of God? It's kind of what Shania was talking about last week. Faith fallacies. What do you believe in? Where is your faith? What does that rely on? So, for example, the flaw check for the Samaritan woman was that she was with 5 men, and the one that she was with, she was there. Basically, it was infidelity. She was with 5 men, and then now the man that she's with wasn't even her husband. Then faith check. What does she believe in? She believed in the Messiah. And she said that day. I'm like, are you the Messiah? Like, are you the one? She believed in the Messiah, and she believed in what Jesus could give to her, which was the water, the living water. She believed that. Then heart check. whatever you put your faith in reveals your heart. It will always reveal your heart. Whatever you believe in, whatever you see and believe in, will reveal what your heart says about you, and more importantly, what your spirit says. Whatever you believe in, it will show you what your spirit says. So for her, God saw her spirit, God saw her heart. As soon as she was truthful, it was like, you know what, you're not even a bad person. Your acts may have been wrong, but what your heart says, you seem like you're a truthful person. So then he rewarded her. So I want you to do that floor check, faith check, and heart check in your life, and know and understand whatever the heart check is, that's what God looks at. That's the only thing. He passes the floor, doesn't even see the floor. He's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. The faith check he clocks, don't get it twisted, he clocks the faith check, but then he really looks at the heart and what your heart says. If you follow that graph, floor check, what you believe in, where you stand, it will always reveal your heart, and then you'll also get to see what God kind of sees, because yeah, that will all relate. So that actually comes to the end of my session